Right, we'll be live in 3, 2, 1. Cheers to anyone who's watching this sitting at home, and good luck to all of our debaters here. They have done exceptionally well to make it to the Lions semi-finals of the MB'22 online. One team from here will make it through to the finals. That they will know only when they get there. Over to your adjudicator, Mr. Arjun Arora, who is a fourth-year law student and will be presiding over this debate. Good luck to both teams and Godspeed, guys. Over to you, Arjun.
Thank you so much, Sahil. Before we start, again, the rules are pretty simple. You have 3 minutes to speak, otherwise 4 minutes in total, but I would give you the first tap at 3. That means that, more than half of the time that you've been allotted with has been elapsed. And after 4 minutes, I will not be noting anything that you say or speak in any form and manner. I will not take into account, nor will I mark you on those points said beyond 4 minutes. Cool. Everybody is fine with that, right? Apart from that, you would be given 60 seconds in between so that you guys know, you have to think a little about what's been said before you. So you'll be given 60 seconds only if you need it, or else we can directly start as well. And we will be following the same order that you have mentioned in the chat box. Best of luck, guys. So as per the rules, I have to be starting with the first speaker in the proposition, that is L003. So Dhanvi, you will be the first speaker and I will be displaying the timer as well for your convenience. Everybody is able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me know when you want to begin.
Shall I start?
Yeah.
Good morning to the House. The proposition for today is that we should ban memes that show defaming other people. And we in the proposition team stand firmly and agree with this proposition. I will define and explain the motion. The second speaker will introduce some fresh constructives and expand our arguments. And lastly, our third speaker will rebut and conclude and convince why the proposition should stand and the opposition should fall. But first, we need to understand the origin of the word meme. The digital age has made global communication possible with a limited amount of words. 140 characters are insufficient to write about the matters of heart and of being, and a meme template makes it possible in even a fewer words and by providing a pictorial representation. The word meme was coined by Richard Dawkins in his 1976 book, The Selfish Gene. He described memes and is short for memesis from the word memetic, as infectious ideas or any other things that spread by imitation from person to person. Echoing the verity of the statement, memes are the latest cultural viruses that are contagious, prone to personality attacking its victims, and provoking a reactionary same or relatable. But it isn't funny how mankind has manipulated this power. First of all, we need to understand laughter's dualistic role. Our age is the age of offense, and our generation is the meme generation. Combine the age and the generation together, and you get a meme generation living in the age of offense. It becomes necessary then to understand that both of them go together hand in hand. For example, let's look how memes take a part in misogyny. The memes reinstate and normalize the idea that a woman's place is limited to a domestic sphere and that her womanly instincts are prone to nurturing. One can also not unsee how these memes trivialize feminism as a movement, how there is an assumed pattern between beauty and privileges, and how a woman can be easily trampled upon for where she belongs to the same place as a man's shoes. In a society which is already faces internalized misogyny and racism, we shouldn't let these ideas be normalized, which is what memes will do. If we care for our future, we need to create responsible citizens who see the wrong in these ideas. The flip side is multifold. Conventions can be thwarted for negative purposes. Humor is achieved at someone else's expense. which can get nasty in memes. And the very existence of in a group or out distinctions implies a hierarchy. If you're not part of the in group, you don't know the conventions and thus don't get the joke. Thus frustrating. If children on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook grow up looking at the glorification and humor in such a way that ideas would expect for their actions to be, laughing while making remarks which are offensive, is that what we want our future to look like? Taking so many step backs. Some people believe that offensive humor, such as jokes, can help break down barriers and challenge prejudice. Others simply find it appalling. The topic is clearly sensitive and often leads to discussions about free speech, morality, and political correctness. But what can academic research tell us about the implications of offensive joking? The proposition would like to make it clear that we do not ban all memes. These defamation memes hurt people's emotions and send a wrong message to the people and the children. The future of our country, should we be teaching them how to defame? These defamation memes are not helpful and are clearly not needed. To summarize, I would like to end with a beautiful quote by Harold Lalsky. Without equality, I say there cannot be no liberty. The proposition must rise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dhanvi. So with that, the opposition's first speaker, that is Yashika, has 1 minute. Yashika, do you require 1 minute or do we just move forward?
I need a minute.
All right, ma'am. So we'll be starting with you exactly at 12:06. Ma'am, are you ready?
Yes, shall I begin?
Yeah.
A very good day to one and all present here. I'm the first speaker from the team opposition, and today me and my teammates are going to oppose the motion. And the motion on the floor is we should ban memes defaming other people. First, I would like to provide you with the structure of our debate. I, as the first speaker, will provide you with the claims. My second speaker will provide you with the evidence, and my third speaker will provide you with the reasoning and rebuttals. Talking about the key terms given in the motion, memes defaming. Let's separate those two terms. Talking about memes, it is derived from a Greek word memia, which means to imitate something usually done to pass a message or thought. And talking about defaming, it is an act of communicating false statements about a person that injure the reputation of that person. And combining both of these two terms isn't right. Talking about two types of defaming, the only two types of defaming, that is slander and libel. Slander is providing statements that are of defaming orally, and libel is in written form. And talking about memes, it is paralingual. So technically, metaphorically, memes is not an act of defaming. It just adds a humorous tinge. So making memes a part of defaming isn't right. And talking about memes, even if we combine them, when are memes made? When a particular issue or concept is finished, when it is done, then only people add a humor to it and read it again and again. And who are the people on whom these memes are made? Mostly celebrities or people who are in the spotlight. And everything has a cost. So just focusing on the rumors or memes won't mean that they are being defamed. And let's just assume banning means defaming. Who bans, who is the head or on the higher authority to ban something? The politicians, the political leaders. All of them will look for their own benefit, something that is going to benefit themselves. How? Mostly, every generation puts forward their thought or perceptions about a particular issue through memes that goes viral very easily. So that small freedom of speech for every age group will go out. It is going to benefit the political leaders. So banning memes defaming isn't going to help because memes technically is not a part of defamation. Defaming is only of two types. Neither memes is oral nor written. So now my second speaker will provide you with the evidence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Points well noted. So the next speaker that we have for the proposition is Adya. Adya, do you need a minute? Adya? Ma'am, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, can I have a minute?
All right, fine. So it's 12:09. We'll start at 12:10. Ma'am, are you ready?
Yes, I would like to begin.
Okay.
I, Adya Chopra, as the second speaker for Team Proposition for this motion, would like to add some arguments to support my first speaker's claims, as well as introduce some fresh constructors. But I am appalled by the aimless arguments made by my opponents, which forces me to start with a rebuttal. The first speaker said that memes are meant for defaming, just for a tinge of humor. That's exactly what we're saying. It should be used for humor, not for spreading hatred. Thank you for speaking for us. Also, they mentioned it's usually those people who are already in the spotlight. Let me ask you something. Don't those people also deserve to be treated with respect and be allowed to make mistakes and learn from them? Okay, now to begin with, I need to address something really important. Cancel culture versus call out culture. These terms are frequently used interchangeably, but this is just a distinction. Call out culture is about drawing attention to someone's wrongdoing and providing them an opportunity to learn from and correct the problems. Cancel culture does not. They do not provide opportunities. Instead, label them as inhumane right away. Now, my team opposition might say, no, but we need to hold individuals responsible for their actions. However, we can do so. We don't have to spread more and more hatred to carry out this. More and more individuals all over the world are shunned off instead of being allowed a chance of rehabilitation. The effect of cancel culture on mental health varies depending on whether you are the one who's cancelled, the one who cancels, or even a bystander. Unfortunately, canceling frequently leads to bullying. If you've been cancelled, you may feel ostracized, socially isolated, and lonely, similar to bullying. Furthermore, studies show that loneliness is linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. When you are cancelled, you may feel as if everyone has given up on you before you even had a chance to apologize, let alone change your behavior. Instead of starting a conversation to help you understand how your actions affect others, the cancers cut off all communication, robbing you of the chance to learn and grow from your mistakes. Let's take, for example, Chori D'Amelio, a child, a minor who faced so much trolling so many hate comments and harsh front hatred of the entire TikTok community because of her anxiety pen, which looked like an e-cigarette? What about Millie Bobby Brown, who again was a child actor who was defamed and cancelled because as a child she was overexcitedly in interviews spoke over other actors? Now, how is all of this fair? Slandered in front of the whole internet community. I mean, there is no denial, mistakes can be made. But isn't that the whole part of being human? Mental health is important. We all know that. But then why does the opposition still support having defaming memes floating all around the internet? Have you ever thought that these memes are putting deep scar on someone's personality, maybe even leading to depression, anxiety? Have you thought of the consequences? Or do you just think about the loss? Happy to propose.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. So next from the opposition, we have Ayushi Gaur. Ma'am, do you need a minute?
Yes, I'll need around 30 minutes.
All right. So ma'am, we'll start at 2:16. It's 2:15 right now.
I'll stop. A very warm good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm the second speaker from the team opposition, and my teammates and I strongly stand against the motion that we should ban memes that show material defaming others. Sorry to break your bubble, my dear proposition. I would like to tell you that government has recognized the creation of memes as legal only and only under certain circumstances. Let me tell you, not to relate to a person's private life and to be only true with such facts which are not invited with defamation. I'm clearly stating that government has already banned and made these memes illegal, which defame others. How is the proposition proposing that? You already have the option to report and to block the account. You already have certain ideas wherein you can actually keep aside the defamation memes. And anyways, the people who are making these memes would be banned and cut off sometime soon. The opposition suggests that the guideline should be there and not the ban on the memes. Why? Because the freedom of speech, which is the basic necessity in today's time, would be snatched away from all these people out here. If you really feel that it is only memes who are there who defame others, let me give you a few examples of defamation which take place online as well as offline. Editor of local newspapers, public comments in media, magazines, blogs and comments on blog posting, chat rooms, internet servers, and vocal defamation. Would you go on and ban only memes when there are so many other social ethical issues as well? Why just memes? There are platforms which openly promote defamation, wherein we see that the government has worked on the part of memes and not on these platforms. The proposition brought up 9 points stating that we should ban memes. Why? We already know that defamation memes are banned. Also, memes are indirect ways of actually making anything defame. They are not direct, and all the memes which are made are actually there with a humorous tinge, and it is on the perception of the person who is actually reading the meme. As my first speaker has already stated, defamation not comes in the category of memes. Why? Because it is paralingual. It is neither a slander or a libel. The proposition fails to understand the difference between the two. Please note the pointers which you are speaking, because we have already stated the laws which are made for the defamation of memes and the other aspects which you fail to understand, because it's not just memes. Memes are not just a mere platform for defamation, but it is giving lives to millions and millions of people who actually are working with a positive cause. Let's talk about the movements, for example, Me Too movement, the movement starting for LGBTQ community. They do exist as well. Do not forget the fact that it is not just memes which is there for defamation, but we have several other ethical issues as well, and the proposition should take into consideration those as well. Hereby, I would like to conclude all more points by stating that the government has already made defamation illegal for me, and the person who is doing it would be caught and can be reported. Please do that if you can. Hereby, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. So the last speaker, that is Harjas from the proposition, will have 60 seconds. Do you need 60 seconds or do you want to?
Yeah, 60 seconds. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to start now.
All right, you can go ahead.
Yeah. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Socrates. A very warm welcome to all present here. I'm Harjas Kaur, the third speaker from side proposition, and I strongly stand with the motion that we should ban memes which defame others. This has been quite an interesting debate so far, and I'd also like to convey my thoughts on it. But our worthy opponents still plan to stand on their side of the motion, which means I'm going to have to present my rebuttals. Let's start with the first speech presented by the opposition. The first speaker from the opposing team said that combining the terms defaming and memes is not right. I completely agree. It is not right. But that is what we do. We have done many wrong things in our life, and making defaming memes are one of them. Yes, my dear opposition, I agree that keeping both defaming and memes together is completely wrong. But isn't that what we're doing? Isn't it? The first speaker also went on to say that memes just add humor. Yes, memes add humor, but to what? To comments which affect mental health? To comments which could lead to someone ending their lives? We're adding humor to degrading pictures of someone else for what? Laughs. That's not even humane. That's monstrous. We're leaving evolution behind and behaving like animals for laughter. That sounds absurd. As my second speaker said, memes should be used for laughter, not defaming and making fun of someone. Then the second speaker from the opposition came up and said that government has put some conditions on the posting of defaming memes. The second speaker also said that we have a choice to report or block. This is just like asking a rape survivor from a small village about why she couldn't fight back. Physical health is just as important as mental health, and we should acknowledge how these defaming means torture someone's mind. A rape survivor from a small village would not report to protect their family's reputation. That is why a person who would not report defaming memes to protect themselves and to protect the upcoming lawsuit coming. Then the second speaker also said that, also asked us why we just want to ban memes. Why not other platforms? My dear opposition, you're making me repeat a sentence from my mother, which I didn't expect to do so soon. If your friends jump off a bridge, Would you go after them? Just like how the other platforms defame, should memes also do the same? Memes have a much bigger power to ruin someone's life, and that is why the proposition supports the motion. Letting memes that defame others be out on the internet for anyone to see is like saying, "Got your identity. Time to ruin your life." I would also like to point out that the opposition still hasn't answered our question. As my second speaker asked, have you ever thought about the consequences of letting these memes float around, of these defaming memes, and the consequences they would have on a person's life? Or do you just think about the laughs you will get from ruining someone's life, their career, their future, even their family's reputation, their dignity? Have you thought about that? As I stated earlier, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. This is the famous quote by Socrates, and it completely defines the motion in one single line. Why do people defame others? Because they are insecure about themselves. When their internal debate for self-worth is lost, people use slander to degrade and defame others. We, the proposition, do not want this hatred and toxicity floating around in the air, affecting other people to do the same things and creating a never-ending hatred cycle, which would eventually lead to the world being full of people who hate themselves. Memes do this. Memes transport this. And that is why we should ban memes that defame others. With this, I state that the proposition should stand and the opposition should fall. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, I would really want to say something here, that I am seeing very two contrasting sides as I expected. Some interesting points coming in. So great job on that. Moving forward, the last speaker that we have from the opposition is Shagun Thakur.
Yes.
So, ma'am, would you need a minute or would you?
No, I'll begin. I don't need a minute.
All right, ma'am, you may begin.
The world is not full of sunshine. And I, as the third speaker of the opposition, is here to break the bubble that the proposition lives in. Greetings to everyone present here. I'm the third speaker of the opposition, and the motion before the House is we should ban memes that defame other people. Over here, as a third speaker and the last speaker of this debate, I should not be providing the interpretation or the meaning of the motion, but I yet feel the need to do so because the proposition clearly failed to understand that. We are talking about defaming. Defaming in itself is a very strong word. And do memes actually defame others? That in itself is an accusation on memes. Coming directly to the rebuttals. The first speaker's entire speech was based on orthodox mindset, offensive humor, and dark humor. Ma'am, how do you think misogyny, feminism, racism is actually linked to defaming others? These are orthodox mindsets. This is not defaming. Defaming is actually ruining a reputation of a person by false accusation. You should understand the term first before speaking about it. Coming to the second speaker. The second speaker made a false accusation. I repeat, the second speaker made the false accusation and rebutted my first speaker saying that she said memes are used for hatred, not humor. Ma'am, you over here also made a false accusation. Shall I ask Behes to ban you as well over here? Definitely not. Coming to next points of yours. You clearly stated loneliness, anxiety, depression, and suicide. Ma'am, why are you bringing guilt trip over here? The things which we are mentioning is that memes, first of all, do not defame others. And to a certain extent, they add a humorous tinge. Defamation through other ways, as my first and second speaker mentioned, is much more diverse and much more worse. So why are you talking about memes only? And this is actually a freedom of expression and speech. So technically, if you ban such memes, it would be restricting a freedom and expression. The one thing which we can actually do is ask the particular company or the app to provide guidelines for such things. Report or blog. Banning them is actually a restriction of freedom and expression. The second speaker gave examples of Charlie D'Amelio and Millie Bobby Brown. Now, first of all, fame comes with a cost. Second thing, defamation happens everywhere, whether it is online or offline, anything. I'll give you an example of accusation, false accusation. Mikhail Gorbachev, till up to date, he's accused of the USSR disintegration, whereas Mikhail Gorbachev's intentions were always right. He always wanted to bring reforms in USSR, but till up to date, even in our books, he's accused that USSR disintegration happened because of Mikhail Gorbachev. Will we ban our books as well? Because these are perceptions of people. We cannot actually question the perception. The third speaker started with a quote. When a debate is lost, slander becomes a tool for the losers. Ma'am, even your teammates use false accusation and you yourself. So is it a fair assumption to make that you expect or you accept the fact that you have lost this debate? That's why you're creating false examples. Giving rape survival example was in itself a very big guilt trip used in this debate and would definitely not be relevant and is nullified. You also said that we make memes on humors. Why do we defame other just for laughter? Ma'am, dark jokes are present everywhere. Dark web is present everywhere. Till how much would you stop it? Talking about algorithm. Usually these dark memes would be shown on your pages only if your algorithm follows that way. That means if you are seeing a dark meme, you follow that thing. So over here, it is not the person who created that meme. It is you. Your algorithm is talking about you, not the world. The third speaker also made a false accusation that they kept on questioning the opposition, us, and we never answered them. Ma'am, you never questioned us. Hereby, I would question you. Do memes actually defame others? Definitely not. Do memes actually defame, even if just for the sake of argument, let's just assume they do. Is it to a certain extent which other people do, which other modes or which other methods do? Clearly not. So banning memes would restrict your freedom of choices, would restrict your freedom of expression, your freedom of speech, and ultimately would result in a very absurd concept. Hereby, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, both the sides, to be speaking on this issue. However, I just I mean, don't mind me adding this to any of the arguments, since I will not take into account if you say something about it right now. So when you say that, you know, that you are defaming something, it is not only a statement that is not true, right? It is something where you are changing the mindset of the people. Even if you read the laws that are prevalent right now, it states that something in its entirety is defamatory only if it is untrue first, and the second one, that it is capable enough of changing the mindset of like-minded people or normal mindset people who are not insane for that matter.